you're not reading what they're doing. It's a call to action by the Manosphere. 80% of women are attracted to 20% of men. You must trick them because we never get them in a normal way.
I saw this trailer on Netflix about a mini series, a limited series, where this young boy is accused of killing a female classmate. They're like young teens or preteens or whatever. And what jumped out to me was at one point I heard one of these popular Manosphere red pill talking points where it's like, and he actually said Manosphere, and he said like 80% of the women want 20% of the men. And once again, the whole show is about this young man who is accused of harming a female classmate, right? And taking her life. And I know a lot of guys in the red pill manosphere spaces will say, it's unfair to categorize red pill content creators or the content itself as dangerous or inciting violence and things like that. And I can understand why they say that, right? Because for the most part, the manosphere was started and popularized by men my age. So the pioneers who really got the manosphere spaces off the ground, they were like, at this point, they're like over 30. Most of them are 35 and over, like the pioneers of the spaces, right? And so I can honestly say, like, the pioneers of red pill spaces and manosphere talking points are not guys who are a threat to society at all. If I'm going to be 100% honest, these are guys who are disgruntled at their own lot in life, and a lot of times their success or lack thereof with women. And so they're just howling at the moon, having a pity party online, complaining and coming up with all these theories and excuses as to why things are going the way they are. But once again, these are not guys that are going to do anything to anybody. They're just, having a pity party online. Right? So they're right in that regard as to, they're not dangerous per se. And the OG listeners of Red Pill content, they're not dangerous either. But here's the issue. The issue is, can Red Pill content, if consumed by the wrong people, turn dangerous? And the answer is yes. Because we have to understand that us 30, 35 and older, even though we may have made Manosphere red pill content and or consumed it, and maybe even still live by it to this day for some guys, the issue is, the difference is this. There was a time where social media and the internet was not as prominent as it is today. Like, I graduated from high school in 2006. YouTube was around, but YouTube wasn't something that everybody was just using regularly all the time. It wasn't. And there was no Instagram. There was no TikTok. There wasn't a whole bunch of men with hundreds of thousands of subscribers making content every day about what's going on with men. That wasn't going on. There were no podcasts, none of that. And so at that point in time, there wasn't as much stuff on the internet, number one. And number two, in those days, there was still a decent presence of Christian men. So you could see manhood from a Christian standpoint. If you didn't have that, you could go and, the football coach, the basketball coach was still a solid guy when we were coming up, so we could go and get some manly influence and leadership from there. Or you could have your friend's father and get it from there. Or you would have an uncle or a grandfather. So we still, even though a lot of us may not have had proper male role models and influences in our own home, there were still so many other places that we could go to and get it from, combined with the fact that there was very little internet stuff going on at the time. And this is where the difference comes in, and this is where the red pill does become dangerous, right? Because You look at sports right now with NIL and social media and all the money that's in sports. There's not a lot of, I mean, well, I'm not going to say not a lot of, but the percentage of coaches who are coaching because they really want to pour into young men versus having other motives that are money related has drastically changed these days. So a lot of times you're not getting that male leadership, male guidance from the coaches. We already know, like in terms of Christianity, that's fallen by the wayside in many aspects. So you're not, a lot of men are not, young boys are not seeing the Christian example of masculinity at all. So those two are out. A lot of situations now, you don't have a dad, your friend don't have a dad either, so you're not getting that influence from them. In a lot of instances, your uncles and your grandfathers, you ain't got that either. So you combine that with the fact that now, not only are the traditional fill-ins for black masculinity or masculinity overall, not only are those no longer around like they once were, but the internet has increased 100-fold. So now you're not going to the pastor to mold you, or to the uncle, or to the coach, or to this person. No, now you're going to the internet, Fresh and Fit, Andrew Tate, the Manosphere, the Red Pill. Now you're getting your view and your lens of masculinity from the internet. From guys who make a living by creating a persona online. And so there's so many young men getting the majority or the bulk of their masculine identity from random guys on the internet, whether it be TikTok, a podcast, YouTube. And so, yes, in that context, Red Pill and Manosphere content is dangerous. Because you have a lot of young, impressionable men who are learning about life, society, manhood, and male and female dynamics from guys online who are not vetted and who many of them have not figured it out themselves. And that's where you get the 80% of women want 20% of the men. Just imagine being 10, 12, 14, 16 years old. No father, no grandfather. Coaches not, what they used to be. Men in the community not what they used to be. So you turn to online, and the guys online are telling you that the women don't want the majority of the men. And the women doing this, and the women doing that. And society is being ruined by feminism. And the modern woman is ruining the whole world. And the women is this, and the problem with the women is that. Yes, that is dangerous. To take a young, impressionable male who's already angry and frustrated and is lost in his identity and lost in his self-esteem because of his father not being there and no men molding him, and then you go online and you hear these dudes telling you, oh, the problem is the women because of this, the problem is women because of... Yes, that is dangerous. Yes, it is. And I don't think a lot of Red Pill guys are really accepting that. But the content that you're making is a negative influence on young males. It is. It is. Imagine being young and somebody's telling you that there's no hope. It's a dead end. It's over. Because you think about it, you 12, 14 years old, nobody's really addressing young males like that. Then you finally find somebody that's addressing young males, and what are they telling you? Women are the problem. Women are ruining society. Yes, it's dangerous. It is.